Mr.
Yes, I also would like to extend my congratulations to the Whitfield School. They've done great work in East New York. If y'all can stand up just one more time. I really appreciate the work that you're doing with our students. We're having students coming out of this school that are prepared to deal with a very competitive society, a very racist society, and they've learned about themselves, their history, and also about technical skills needed to be competitive in a highly competitive society. Thank you for the great work, and we know that you've saved a lot of our youngsters. Keep up the good work.
Mr. Morelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before we go to resolutions, and I understand there may be an additional introduction, I'd like to ask members of the Insurance Committee to join Mr. Cahill in the Speaker's Conference Room, members of the Insurance Committee.
Insurance Committee, Speaker's Conference Room, proceed immediately. Mr. Palmisano.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues for allowing me to interrupt the proceedings for an introduction. Joining me in the back of the chamber are a number of students who are up here for the Future Farmers of America program, going around and educating. They were here as part of the Farm Bureau night last night. And I'd like to introduce the students here on behalf of myself and Assemblyman Chris Friend, who has some of the students from his district as well. First, I'd like to introduce Miranda Stansfield from Horseheads High School, Ashley Materney from Horseheads High School, Dakota Landon from Watkins Glen High School, Emily Zine from Horseheads High School, Kyle Frazier from Modesto Montour High School, Nathan Washburn from Elmira High School, Dan McNaughton, he's a GST BOCES conservation instructor and FFF advisor, and Dan Farron, who's a county legislator and also an advisor to these young students. On behalf of myself and Mr. Friend, if you could welcome these students to the Capitol to extend the privileges and courtesies of the House.
Certainly. On behalf of Mr. Palmisano, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome these future farmers here to the New York State Assembly, and also the staff that works with you. We extend to you the privileges of the floor and hope that you will continue your endeavors. You are what makes this state great. Thank you so much for your continued interest in taking this state a little bit farther. Thank you so very much. Mr. Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If we could begin with page 3 of the main calendar, begin our work by taking up Assembly Resolution 1004 by Mrs. Robinson.
Page 3, resolutions. Clerk will read.
Resolution number 1004, Mrs. Robinson. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim Black History Month in the state of New York.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 1005. Mr. Walter, legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim April 2016 as Esophageal Cancer Awareness Month in the state of New York.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 1006, Mr. Crespo. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim November 2016 as Chronic Obstructive Pulmonary Disease Awareness Month in the state of New York.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 1007, Ms. Rosenthal. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim March 6, 2016 as Lymphedema Day in the state of New York in conjunction with the observance of the first annual World Lymphedema Day.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. If we could go to page 53 of the main calendar and begin with calendar number 389 by Mr. Avenanti.
Clerk will read.
Assembly 381A, calendar number 389, Mr. Avenanti, an act to amend the penal law and the criminal procedure law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 504, calendar number 390, Mr. Cusick, concurrent resolution of the Senate and Assembly proposing an amendment to Section 1 of Article 2 of the Constitution in relation to qualifications of voters.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 542, calendar number 391, Mr. Lenthal, an act to amend the alcoholic beverage control law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 2777, calendar number 392, Mr. Brennan, an act to amend the public service law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 3391A, calendar number 393, Mr. Braunstein, an act to amend the real property law.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is our first vote of the day, colleagues, so please cast your vote. And for members around the chamber who have not, who are not in the chambers, please make your way and cast your first vote of the day.
First vote of the day, members. At the sound of our voice, please come to chambers and record your vote. Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 118, noes 0.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing a brief interruption, simply to alert the members of the Banks Committee that Ms. Robinson is prepared to take them to the Speaker's conference room. Members of the Banks Committee.
Banking Committee, Speaker's Conference Room. Follow Ms. Robinson.
Assembly 3839, calendar number 394, Mr. Gottfried. An act to repeal paragraphs E, F, and G of subdivision 5 of section 36 of the Municipal Home Rule Law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 4871, calendar number 395, Mr. Perry. An act to amend the Public Health Law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 5448A, calendar number 396, Ms. Glick. An act to amend the Education Law.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote. The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 5868, calendar number 397, Mr. Kavanaugh. An act to amend the Energy Law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 6032, calendar number 398, Mr. Dinowitz. An act to amend the General Business Law.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 6945, calendar number 399, Ms. Walker. An act to amend the Criminal Procedure Law.
Lay it aside.
The bill is laid aside.
Assembly 7638, calendar number 400, Ms. Seawright. An act to amend the Estates, Powers, and Trusts Law.
Bill is laid aside.
Assembly 7885, calendar number 401, Mr. Cahill. An act to amend the Workers' Compensation Law.
Lay it aside, please.
Bill is laid aside.
Assembly 8671A, calendar number 402, Mr. Zabrowski. An act to amend the Public Health Law and Chapter 230 of the Laws of 2015.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
Clerk will record the vote.
No complaints.
Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 90, noes 0.
The bill is passed.
Assembly 8699, calendar number 403. Ms. Hunter, an act to amend Chapter 266 of the laws of 1981.
Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
The clerk will record the vote.